Welcome, greetings, hopefully all is well. And I just wanted to check back in and revisit this topic. So last time I had a thumbnail that was Calc D related. If you know, you know, right? This time the thumbnail revolves around, hip thrust, glute bridge, and in my humble opinion, it's all correlated, right? Not that specifically Calc D stuff and glute centric stuff is exactly, correlated to one another, but the fact that if you're trying to further, because that's what today's topic is about, this live stream is about building further off momentum, right? So if we're trying to discuss further about building momentum and building off of that, building off of momentum, well, what's important here is, and by the way, it is 16 degrees outside right now. Yeah, this is that stretch of 10 days every year, or yeah, every winter season that it pretty much doesn't get lower than this. But when we talk about building further off momentum, the reason the thumbnail revolves around glute bridge, right, is because, and this is how quick it can happen. Recently, I made a change where I was actually doing glute bridges the year before, in 2020, right? So maybe going into 2025, but the last 3 months or so, I started focusing on doing squats, because doing air squats, they've always helped me in the past. The same way push-ups have always helped me build the chest, triceps, and shoulders, especially chest. Doing squats has always built my quads and my glutes, right? So most recently, over the last 3 months, I committed to something where I said, you know what? I don't like the way my glutes are looking right now. Right? They're kind of flabby. They don't have the same oomph. And maybe this topic is not for everyone, especially guys. Like some guys just get funny over, topics like this. So if it bothers you, you're not secure, keep it scrolling, right? But I was looking at my glutes and I was like, they're not the way they're supposed to be, right? So I remember in my past, like I just finished saying, squats, and I'm not talking about go to the gym and, load up the bar and do free weight back squats or front squats. No, I'm just talking about regular body weight air squats, right? They have always helped me. They have always built my legs and my glutes, right? Maybe it's a genetic thing, I don't know, but they've always worked, right? So most recently, over the last couple months now, I don't even know if it's been 12 weeks yet. So I committed to doing air squats, right? So basically, I said, you know what? When I make my shake, I'm going to do calf raises. And guess what? That's been working. Because now my calves are not only more vascular, but they're gaining mass, right? Gaining shape, size, and mass, and vascularity. So every time I make my shake, I just do that. I go ahead and I do calf raises off the steps. I make a shake every day anyways. So to me, it was like, why not? Just incorporate this. So you're doing this all the time anyway, so might as well do this at the same time. So you're doing calf raises all the time, right? So the other thing is, I make my meal, and I said, much like I've committed to doing calf raises for gastrocs, let me also do air squats when I make my meal. And remember, I was analyzing my glutes, and I was like, it's kind of fed up. I was like, I don't like the way my glutes are looking. So I said, you know what? Now that I started doing the calf raises and I like the outcome, I like the results, I like what's happening, let me do the same thing, but when I make my meal, I do air squats, right? So fast forward, it's been a few months now. Guess what? I'm looking at my glutes now. Major difference. Major difference. My quads are more shapely. My glutes are way more round, thicker. All of it. I got a fatty again, right? So it just goes to show, when you build off momentum, and this is further because in the previous live stream of me talking about building off momentum, I had the Calc D, if you know, you know, thumbnail. So I was kind of talking about PE culture, right? This time, I don't really need to go into PE unless someone has a question. But for the most part, like I said, it's all correlated, because some people, in my humble opinion, misconstrue rest, where it's like you have to rest, where in actuality, your body can get conditioned. And as long as I think you stay hydrated, you sleep enough, and, you're not like even over, quote unquote, overdoing something, I think your body still can get used to it as long as you feed yourself properly. You sleep right, you stay hydrated, and you feed yourself enough. I think your body can get conditioned and used to it, right? And now, whether you want to do that, like if it serves you purpose or not, is another thing. But are you going to burn out that easily? I don't think so, at least from my personal experience. So building off momentum, in my humble opinion, you have a lot to gain more than you're going to lose because you're not resting. And that's the whole premise of today's live stream. I wanted to check in to say that in a short period, and keep in mind, these grays are here in my beard, not because I've been having or experiencing premature graying. No, I'm like right around 50 years old. And I just got these results, completely natural. I don't take anything. I don't even take protein powder, right? And I got these results in weeks. I'm talking about my calves and my glutes got results in literally weeks just by building off momentum, So that's why I'm a big proponent of that, because, there are a lot of people, mostly men, are like, I can't make gains, or I can't and then everything goes to a syringe emoji. Everything is about trend or TRT or test. Like, no, it's not about that. It's about finding what works for you. I'm just sharing what worked and what has been working for me. And like I said, it's all correlated. So whether we talk about PE or we talk about glutes or we talk about, certain stubborn areas like calves, listen, all of these areas can get it, Like when it comes to results, nothing's really off the table. And it's not just physically. It's mentally, it's financially, it's emotional, it's pretty much anything you want to apply this to, really. You can get results with anything, really. You know, you just build off momentum and you just keep it going. That's how I see it, and that's really what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to jump in, do a quick live stream on the value, the importance in building off momentum. You know, this is my second live stream on this topic. I think it's very important because I think a lot of people just kind of either give up early. I think folks just, I think people just don't allow themselves the opportunity to give themselves a chance. You know, like sometimes it's frustrating because you have to stay with it. Like life has a way of throwing a lot of curveballs at us. And it gets very challenging, you know? And again, to each their own, but my approach is going to be very different than the next person's approach, and so forth and so on. I just know that when you find something that works for you, you got to stay with it. You can't give up on yourself. You got to, and when I say stay with it, that doesn't just mean like, okay, you know what, I gave it like 3 weeks. No, sometimes it takes a long time. I could literally point out many instances in my life where I kept failing over and over and over and over and over and over a period of like over a year and a half. Imagine failing at one thing for a year and a half straight and you didn't give up. You stayed with it. And then guess what? At some point, after all that failing, a year and a half later, I got through. And then it's like, it's so satisfying because you're like, yo, I was giving it so much effort and attention. Hi, how you doing? Welcome. And I was not getting anywhere. There weren't any results happening, you know? And then out of nowhere, it happened. And when it happened, it was confirmation that it was like, you know what? I didn't give up. I kept going. Like, there are always going to be voices in your head that say, you know what, screw this. Or like, well, what are we even doing here? You know? But there's also a voice in your head that says, if you don't give up, you may wind up discovering something that could be incredible. It could be excellent, you know? And if you give up, you won't allow yourself the opportunity. You won't give yourself the chance to discover what that could potentially be. You know, so that's why I'm just like, sometimes you gotta give it that effort. You know, you got to stay with it. And sometimes staying with it means more than just a couple of weeks. Sometimes it means more than a year. You know, sometimes it means staying with it for a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And throughout all that time, sometimes it means staying with something for over 5 years. You may fail at something when in actuality it's a lesson. It's a difficult lesson that you have to go through for 5 years. Imagine failing for 5 years straight at something until it finally gives you a light that you can see and say, it might make you cry. It might make you cry, like literal tears that you feel. You might have tears come down because everything you had to go through for all that time, you finally feel vindication. You know? You finally get that confirmation. Imagine waiting 5 years for something. What's up? How you doing? Welcome. Greetings. And I think you're asking me if I'm Muslim. I'm not. I am not Muslim. I can't read those letters, so I'm not exactly sure what your name is, but I'm not. And, you know, when it finally comes through and you get some sort of results, it's bittersweet. You know, what's up? How you doing? And it's bittersweet because it's like, man, I waited so long for this, you know? And every lesson that came along the way, everything you had to experience before you finally got to this place where it's like, man, wow, that was something else, you know? Hi. And, okay, Brazil is in the building. Let's go. Let's go. You know, sometimes people from South America chime in. It's always a pleasure. Greetings, you know. Brazil, Venezuela, Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay. You know, I could name all the countries. And I don't care if we're in Africa or Europe, East Europe, West Europe, you know, I'll start going into like my geography Rolodex, you know. But yeah, would love to come to Brazil. Kyrgyzstan. Okay, got it. Kyrgyzstan is in the house as well. Kyrgyzstan. Yeah, I would love to come to Brazil. You know, it's a very tropical, nice place, you know. Good, friendly people, it seems. You know, I mind my business. I don't bother anyone, you know. Like I said, it's a warm place, tropical. You know, people speak Portuguese there, right? So, yeah, I understand you, you know. CC, what's up? What's going on, brother? No, I don't watch sports. You know, I rather play sports, but I'm not really in tune, so I don't know what's going on, you know, in all honesty. So, yeah. I'm old school. Like I haven't watched sports for a long, long, long time, you know? Whether it was baseball, or football, or basketball, or whatever the sport, it's been a long, long time, you know? So, yeah, I'm just not in tune anymore. I'm so focused. Yeah, it's true. It's true, Motion. It's because I'm so focused on the grind that it's like, honestly, because I'm not going to bet on sports, right? I'm not going to put my money to bet on sports, boxing, anything, right? So if I'm not going to put my money into it, it's like, yeah, I understand it's entertainment, but it's like, like I said, I'm so focused on the grind. To me, when I think about it, I'm like, how am I going to make bread off of this? You know, how am I going to make money off of this? So to me, for me to sit there and watch something for 45 minutes, an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, it's like, yo, I could have figured out a way to make money right now, you know, legitimately too. No, I've not ever been to Brazil. You know, I would love to come to Brazil one day, and I will come to Brazil for sure, for sure. But I haven't been there. No, I have not ever been to Brazil. I would love to come one day. I will come, and I can't wait. It should be a beautiful thing, you know, beautiful people, beautiful culture, language, environment, climate, everything. It's a huge place. You have the Amazon. Oh, I'm speaking crazy, right? I don't think I'm speaking in slang, but yeah, what I'm trying to say is I would love to come to Brazil. You know, one day I will come to Brazil, and when that day comes, I can't wait, you know? Yeah, when it comes to motion, when it comes to the bets, like, you don't eat, like, look at boxing right now, right? It's like you don't know what's real and what's not, right? Like, is it rigged? We don't even know. So that's why it's like, shoot, I'm not gonna spend my time watching this. Like, I'm not betting on it, so I'm not gonna put my time into it. You know, I gotta make bread. That's just what it comes down to. Because once you figure out financial independence, then you could go to Brazil. You feel me? You could make that trip and take it to Brazil. I wish I could speak in Brazilian Portuguese, you know? Because if I could speak in Portuguese, it would be that much easier, right? I go right to Brazil and be speaking Portuguese. But yeah, like I said, if you have financial freedom, you could take a trip and you don't have to worry about it, you know? And yeah, I do it all the time, CC. I mean, you know, I always say, like, one of the best measures, in my humble opinion, of intelligence is how you think on the fly, you know? So, yeah, I understand that. When it comes to, I think, a bunch of different countries, I think a lot of people can write English really well. They can probably read and write English pretty decent, right? But when you speak English, especially the way I speak it, I'm probably speaking and you're hearing me talk and you're just like, what is this guy saying? You know? Yeah, I could imagine. English is challenging for sure. You know, and I apologize. I don't want to be speaking in a way that you don't understand me, but at the same time, you know, there are accents for a reason. So, like, I'm sure the people in Brazil, how you speak English is a certain way. So, like, your ears are accustomed to that. You're used to that accent. So when you hear someone speaking English that way, it's easier for you to understand. So I'm pretty sure you hear the way I speak English, you're just like, that's not the way we speak English, you know? So yeah, all right. So if you understand me, that's good, you know? Hopefully, as long as I go over there to Brazil and they understand me over there, that would be a good thing. Because it's going to be very challenging for Portuguese. I could barely, you know, at this point right now, so I'm so rusty, speak Spanish, you know? Like, my Spanish, well, I don't know. Your English doesn't look bad. But then again, it could be you know how to read and write really well or pretty well. And then you're kind of understanding what I'm saying. I don't know. I wouldn't know unless I was talking to you, you know? But yeah, you seem like a traveled person, you know? Dubai is another place that I would like to go to. I would like to see what is happening out there, you know? And I think I took a trip to India a long time. I don't know if we went to India or Germany. I don't remember. I went with my parents, and there was a layover. It was a stop in, I think, I don't know if it was Saudi Arabia or Dubai or Oman or Qatar or one of these places. I don't remember where it was. It was definitely the Middle East. 100K in Brazil flight. I'm thinking you're talking about some sort of Brazilian currency, right? I don't know how much 100,000 Brazilian currency is. Like, how much is that in dollar? How much is 100,000 Brazil currency? How much is that in dollars? I wonder, you know? Because this is the first time I'm thinking, like, what is a Brazil? What is the currency even called? You know, what is the Brazilian currency called? What is the name of the currency? Yeah, I'm from the US. I'm in the Bronx right now. I'm in the Bronx, New York. BX NY USA. So, yeah. You know, I just wanted to check in, chime in. Everyone in this chat. 4:30. Oh, you know, name checks out. I would assume, like, you know, an invitation like that would be for the most prestigious of people, you know, but you're just giving it an open invitation to everyone, you know. Yeah, I am going to sign off soon, you know. I just wanted to check in and talk about furthering the topic of momentum. Oh, well, that's good, Jeffrey. You know, I don't know if this is like some sort of reincarnation or what's happening here, but like, is this like, are you, are we bringing back the past somehow into the future? This is kind of tripping me out how this is happening. But hey, if you're alive and well, and okay, so it was all a hoax. You figured it out. You got your boy back, and you know, you're partying. So that's good, you know. And I hope you guys have a you know, a solid party, like whatever's happening there. You know, I just as far as this chat, I don't think there are too many people in this chat today at this time right now. So I don't know if anyone's really going to see your invitation, but me personally, I'm in the BX. So wherever you are seems pretty far away. But yeah, I just, like I said, I wanted to talk about the furtherance of building off momentum. You know, it's very important. And I think I did that. Knocked it out in the first maybe 8 to 12 minutes. Then oh, you're in the Bronx. Oh, okay. So your island must be like City Island. That's your island. Oh, so you got the Don to come to City Island? That's awesome. You know? But yeah, I just wanted to check in, talk about that, and discuss how I got some, what's up, Bear? How I got some results really fast, you know, just by staying consistent, building off momentum, and, you know, and it works. Sometimes you just have to trust in the process, stay with it, and don't give up. And that's really it. With that being said, you know I got to keep it moving. Otherwise, I'd probably do like a marathon 2-3 hour live stream. But yeah, I just wanted to check in. I thought that information was something I wanted to share. I did. And yeah, I'll catch you all next time. Thank you for checking in. I value your time, and have a great evening and night, morning, wherever you're at.